Max, it's easy only
Easy.
because I saw some. Yeah,
Tell me.
Max, I tried also for doing that, but the actual concept, which I'm not under, only some basic concept I'm not understanding. That's it.
Okay. Who else?
I'm not familiar with this Dynamo, sir. I think it is easy.
Okay. Who else? Who else?
Well, I think Dynamo. If you start learning some scripting or languaging, and if you continuously practice, it's not going to be difficult.
Okay. Okay, Devashish. Who else? Faizan, Mahindra.
Yeah, I think so. We are already using Revit and AutoCAD and Plant 3D, some other kind of software. I think the Dynamo, it will be easier for us.
Okay. Well, what? Anyone else? Okay.
I think it is easy whose basics are clear for them.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have a second question for you. Do you need any programming language? I mean, as a prerequisite to play with this Dynamo? Do you need to learn any programming languages before?
I think so.
Who else? Who else?
Actually, programming language is not required, but if you want to more play in the Dynamo, we need to learn Python, Iron Python, I guess. For the
Good. Very good. Who else? Who else? No one? Okay, well, come to the topic. Like, I think I don't want to spoil your weekend. Okay, so most of you like you're in a like holiday mood, right? So it's in a festival mood that too. Okay, it was a long time to set this demo. Well, so I don't want to waste your time. We'll just finish it. Generally, it would be like 2 hours, but we'll try to finish it in 1 hour or like 75 minutes. Okay. Well, let's come to the topic where Dynamo is not that toughest tool to learn, frankly. But what do you exactly learn, and from where do you have to start, and what you have to learn exactly? So you should know, like for example, if you go through with any kind of a resources, I mean, they will not teach you the basic stuff. They don't teach. I mean, they don't teach like where to start actually. For that sake, like we have customized a training. We have customized a training. It is around. It's like a 40 years. It's around like 40 years because like I've seen some sort of a people who learn by themselves for like 1 hour or like 2 hours, and they feel like they might be play with any kind of skills, but actually no, it's a complete bullshit. You cannot expertise in by learning a tool within 1 or 2 hours. You cannot play with Revit after learning. I mean, just watching with watching by like a 1 or 2 hour videos or 3 hour videos or 4 hour videos. You need a practice, as well as when it comes to the any other programming tool or any other visual programming tool or any modeling tool, whatever it is, any tool, you have to play with at least minimum mass. So the minimum mass would be like 100 to 500. Okay, but when I played with like more than thousands of hours, when it comes to the programming, when it comes to programming, and I wasted a lot of hours by doing R&D. Those R&D experience, I'm gonna feed you in a 40 hours. So what I teach in this 40 hours is it's like a complete. Let me show you that content before. I think I have shared you already. Otherwise, I'll share it later. As I said, we have like some sort of a key concepts. What do you mean by key concept? If you have to learn something, I mean, if you can troubleshoot any of your like a Revit issue, then you become an expert. If you can't able to troubleshoot any sort of an issue, either if it is like a workset issue or if it is like any hidden elements issue, so whatever it is, okay, any basic or any advanced, if you can troubleshoot yourself, then you are a master. Okay. Well, even when it comes to the Dynamo training, we have some sort of a key concepts. These are those. Generally, I mentioned 10 here. Actually, we have a few more lot. those are like sub concepts. Okay, so if you are aware of this 10 main key concepts, you will be perfect and you can play with any kind of a scripts very easily, very easily. So where to start, and how do you start exactly? And for some sort of a concepts, you don't find any resources at all. Okay, but we have customized our training with hundreds of examples. We will be teaching you hundred of examples. We will be providing like thousands of sources, like the Dynamo scripts itself. Okay, we will be sharing you some sort of around similar to 1,000. So, and you can play with, and if you're stuck somewhere, you can go through with recording sessions and everything. We are providing, it's like a bundle. Okay, well, in this 40 hours, like we will be teaching you something around around 20 to 25 hours. It's like a theoretical part, and the 15 hours, no, actually you can consider exactly 50-50. So 20 hours it's like a theoretical part, and 20 hours it's like a practical part. So in this practical, either it could be your live issues. If you're facing an issue, then I'll be solving from either like using any desk or like GoToMeeting. I'll come to your screen. Either you can come to my screen and you can access and you can understand, or else I'll be sharing your screenshot or like a screen recording of the actual solution after your training hours. Okay, if you're struggling somewhere after, when you are in an office, then I'll help you out. Okay, well, so this is how the training would be, and these are the main concepts you supposed to start with. Otherwise, if you are aware of all these 9 key concepts, and if you're not aware of the data type concept, you are zero in the Dynamo, completely zero. Because when you're trying to create a script, you have to focus on all this stuff. If by mistake, if you did not understand the node behaviors, and it means the script exactly, I'll just give you an example. Like when you create a script in November 7th, today you create a script on November 7th, and when you're trying to open after 3 months or after 6 months, the script would be the same, but it will not work. It could be any reason. It could be any reason, like either the graphic issue, or either it's like a what else, like version issue. For example, if the Dynamo version has changed and you are using in a downgraded version, or you're using in an upgraded version, so it could be any reason. If the script doesn't work, then you have to troubleshoot yourself. Before troubleshooting, you have to understand where the problem is. You have to mark it out. Okay, there are a lot of things to be considered. Dynamo is not that easy to learn, frankly. Even that's not even tough also. Okay, if you focus on this, all this like a 10 key concepts, that's it. You don't need to bother about anything else. Okay, so these are the concepts which we are going to learn as a Dynamo training program, and this is a design scripting training program. So including the Dynamo and the design scripting, we are offering, again, it's like a coding part. Design scripting is a coding part. You can customize like 10 nodes into one single node. That's called design scripting. I'll show you that later. Okay, so what do you learn? What do you learn exactly? And why I asked you to attend this demo today, to know the trainer capabilities, like how the training is going to be happen, and whether is it in a fruitful way, or like if I have any doubts, will the trainer will be able to assist me whenever you need. Okay, for to clear all these kind of queries. That's why I requested you to attend this demo. Okay, not only this, and I'm going to teach you some sort of a basic, which are like, I'm going to give you the tips how to play with the Dynamo today. Okay, so how to play with the Dynamo, I'm going to give you a tip today. So like 1 or 2 tips. So this is going to be the base. This is going to be the base for the entire training. So I'm trying to bring some confidence that Dynamo is easy to understand. Okay, well, for my second question, Python or like C or C++ or Iron Python, no programming languages are required to play with the Dynamo seriously. That is an advanced one. Because see, generally, of course, when it comes to the programming language, we have if you have 100% concepts, you have to be play with the 10% concepts. The rest of the 90% you completely ignore it. You no need at all. Okay, what are the 10% concepts that we will be teaching you, like 10 to 20% up to some extent? Okay, those are not required to, I mean, you're not going to play with, you're not going to create a Amazon website using a Python, and you're not going to create any you're not going to play with any web browser APIs. So up to what extent like you have to learn, we will be teaching you over there, okay, in this training program. So and what is the design scripting, I'll explain you in the end of today's demo. Well, so I hope you are familiar about this. Most of you are familiar about this Dynamo. Okay, so this is actually a Dynamo interface, correct? It's a Dynamo interface. And is it interface new to the industry? Actually, no. We have a lot of interfaces like this in our market itself. Like, let me show you some ways. Let me Google it. So we have, if I type visual programming tools, and when I click on images, these are the visual programming tools actually. Okay, so where we are playing with, this is a different kind of a tool, and this is a different kind of a tool, which looks like similar. So all these, this one we called as a block, this one we called as a block. Here, whatever you see in a different colors, these are blocks. This entire thing is one block, and this second block, third block, fourth block, fifth and sixth, and these are again blocks, and these are also again we call as a blocks, code blocks. Okay, even we do also call the same, which has a code block and nodes in the Dynamo. Visual programming is not new to the industry. And what is the difference between the visual programming and the programming? Where visual programming is a no code programming. You're not going to write any code over there. That's called no code programming. But when it comes to the programming, it's a code programming. Okay, so no code programming and code programming, both are completely different. If you don't know like coding part, how can I play with a like a different interface? Yes, we are going to utilize someone's script. For example, let me show you a tool. Okay, see the same interface actually. Even we do have a watch node over there and the Dynamo as well. For example, if I use any watch node, this is a watch node. If I connect any element or if I connect any geometry to it, it will show this kind of a window here. Well, so these are the nodes. Generally, we do have some sort of a nodes in Dynamo. I hope everyone knows it. You are not completely zero. Okay, at least you are 1% know about it. So where we have a blocks, and I'm not the owner of this block. And if I want to move this cat, so what I do, I have to bring this, and this is a Dynamo workspace. Let's assume it. Okay, this is a Dynamo workspace, and I want to move this cat for 10 steps. So when I click on this, where we don't have any refresh or run button here, so when I click on this, it's moving like for 10 steps. Here I'm not the user, I'm not the owner of this node, I'm not this owner of this code block, but still how the actions were performed, because this is written by someone else for my use case. Okay, you understand? So if I want to turn this, cat for 15 degrees, so when I click on this, see, it's happening. Now if I want to turn this cat again into a negative direction, into the negative degrees, then what to do? Can anyone answer? I appreciate it if someone can answer this.
By using another turn option.
Okay, can't I play with the same?
No, another one. Yeah, in left side we can see there are more there.
You can input the minus values.
Minus. Hit enter. Okay. Yes, it's working. So where we are going to play with this data here, 10, it is the user input. It's the user input. That is what the Dynamo is, nothing else. So you should know like what to feed exactly to get the proper output. You understand? Where we can see a different kind of an output here. For example, let's say I have an element here. Let's say if I want to select any element, so what I do, select model element. I want to select one model element, so select model element. Now it has a feature to select any element, and it now, as of now, it's saying it's nothing is selected. When I click on this, okay, the Revit has an access to. Now if I want to select this box, it's a panel. If I switch back to the Dynamo again, now it is saying 746575, and the panel name is MDP3, is it? It's an MDP3. So I have selected the MDP3 panel 1. Now, what are the actions that I can perform with this panel? What are the actions that I can perform with this panel? If you know, for example, let's see, I want to know all the parameters of this particular elements. Okay, the first tip for today. See, if you are completely new to the Dynamo, it's not that scary. It's very easy, very, very easy. Okay, well, let me explain you. Where we have a method called it's called a dot notation process. In a dot notation process, we have 5 different methods, but today we are going to discuss about the first thing. Okay, the first one, the first method. The thing is, well, I'll explain the node then. Okay, well, the first thing is, what do you have? What do you have in your hand right now? Okay, let's Control C and Control V. And what are you expecting to see? What are you expecting to see, or what are you expecting to get, or what are you expecting to perform an action, whatever it is? Okay, where we have 2 different terms here. So in between these 2 terms, we have to put a dot in between. That is called dot notation. Okay, so how it, when it comes to the real picture, when it comes to the like foreground, how it looks like actually. Okay, well, I have an element with me. Now I'm going to anatomize this complete node. What do you mean by anatomy? In the sense, like the biology students, what they do, they'll cut any insect and see what is inside it. Okay, now I'm going to anatomize the same thing here. Now I cut this into the 2 parts. Now I can see what is inside it. What is inside it? Okay, the first one, the left hand side part. Okay, let me show you one more again. We have a one more node. We'll just go with element dot delete. Okay, see, I have some sort of a nodes here. I took a random nodes. Now if I cut this into the 2 parts, and if I cut this into the 2 parts, okay, now on the left hand side part, we called it as a input. Is someone speaking? Let me mute everyone. Okay, so the left hand side part we called as an input, and the right hand side part we called as an output. Again input, and again it is an output. Again here this is an input, and right side part we called as an output, where we are connecting something. It is expecting something, and we are connecting. The connecting node is called, I mean the connecting side, which is called as an input, and where you are actually extracting the information. You are seeing some sort of a action which is already performed within the block, and then it will return back. So that is called an output. Okay, well, you have an input and you have an output. Input, output, input, output. So the logic is the output of the first node, the output of the first node should exactly match with input of the second node. Input of the second node. Remember this. That's it. The output of the first node it should exactly match with the input of the second node. Here, that is saying it's an element, and this is also expecting an element. Can I connect this to this? Can I connect that to this? This one to this? Just say yes or no.
Yes, yes.
Sure? Don't know?
Yeah, sure.
Let's try. Let's try. So when I connect an element to this element, okay, well, what happened? Let me connect this to this element now. Okay. Oh, something went wrong. What happened? So when I fetch back and I'll go, where is the panel? Where is the panel? Just now I selected a panel here, right? And where is the panel? What happened with the panel?
It got deleted.
Deleted. Why? Why?
There is
Because
option of like element delete.
yes, that's because of this element.delete. I told it I have an element with me. I have an element with me and delete that. Delete that element. If I have an element with me and I want to know the name of it. And I want to know the name of it. Okay. Well, I have an element with me and I want to know the ID of it. I have an element with me and I want to know the location of it. I have an element with me and I want to know what is the particular category of it. Okay. So one more, like I'll just go with, I have an element with me and I want to get the geometry object. See, if you understand where there is a one common scenario here is the element. All the input nodes, all the inputs are elements because our output is an element. Our output, what we have selected, that is an element. Okay. Well, when I click on this element and if I select the second element, the second one, which one I selected? LP3B. Perfect. So LP3B. Now I can connect this to this element. No, I don't want to connect this because it will delete it. So I want to know the name of this. See, it's saying it's a LP3B. It's a panel name. Perfect. So when I connect, I don't have anything as an output. If it's showing it's like a function, it is expecting something. So when I connect the element to this, now it is returning the element ID 6260046260004. 6260004. Okay. If I want to know the actual location of it, I'll simply connect this to this. Now it's saying that, oh, the XYZ location. The XYZ location. When I connect the element to this element.get category, what category is this? Oh, it's an electrical equipment. Okay, perfect. So when I connect this element to this geometry, solid. What do you mean by solid? Element.geometry will bring that element into the picture. So this is the actual picture. It's an element.geometry. Okay, this is not for us. It's for like another users, like for the complete programmers. Okay. Well, if I want to know the parameters, then what would be the node? Can anyone guess? I have an element with me and I want to know the parameters of it.
Element dot parameters.
Very good. Very good. So it is an element dot parameters. So element dot parameters. See, we have a node. So when I connect this to this, it will fetch all the parameters. That's it. Okay. Now I just want to know a few more notes. I mean, few more answers from you. I have a node. I have a parameter name and I have a parameter value as well. Where there is a column, here, where there is a column. So where we have a values to, So I want to split this. Let's say I have a name and I have a values as well. Now I have a parameter here. I want to split. I want to know only the name of it. Then what would be the connecting node? Just understand my question again. I have a parameter with me and I want to get the name of it. Names of it. That's it.
Parameter dot name.
Very easy. That's it.
Get parameter.
Parameter dot name. No, this is just a dot notation concept. That's it. So if I know a parameter and if I want to extract the name of it, then I'll simply connect the parameter to this parameter dot name. Now I can see all the parameter names. Now, if I want to know I have a parameter with me, I have some parameters with me, and I want to extract the values. Then
Same parameter value.
that's it. Instead of name, I have a parameter with me and I want to know the values of it. So when I connect this to this, so it will show the parameter to this parameter, then it will fetch this parameter value as well. That's it. This is a clear-cut concept and that you are going to apply till the end of the training. Okay, this is only the first method. We have 4 more methods. So you will be understanding these kind of concepts, tips and tricks during the entire training. Every day we do have like a 1.5 hour to 2 hours training. So generally it's a 1.5 hour. The first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes would be the questionnaire part. So if you have any questions, any complicated question or any basic question, doesn't matter, and I will sort it out first, then we'll jump into the concepts. Okay, well, so before we end the training, before we end the session, after successfully done with the concept, the deliverable, then otherwise if you're not happy with generally not, if you're not happy and if you're like a slow learner, or if you're not able to understand the concept, then I'll give you the examples. If you're not happy with the first example, then I'll go with the second example, and I'll go with the third example, 4, 5, 6, until unless you understand the concept clearly. I keep giving you the examples. Okay, well, so this is how actually it works like. Well, where, okay, when I'm showing you in the demo, generally it works fine because this is what generally what you watch in a YouTube. But what if you're finding some sort of an errors? What if you find some sort of an errors? Today I'm going to give you the second one. Well, anyhow, the parameters are where I'm connecting from the parameters. This parameter.name where I'm connecting from this parameter, and these parameters are extracting from the element. Can I directly connect this element to the parameters? I am extracting the parameters from an element and I'm trying to fetch the name information from the parameter. Why should I go with this lengthy process? Why should I go with a select model element? Once I selected the element, then why should I use this element dot parameters? And from this, why should I connect this to this? Can't I directly connect this to this? Then it will give the parameter names. Will it work or no? Now I need an answer from everyone.
No, it seems
Wrong. Okay, well, anyone can answer this. Everyone.
because the element is output should be connected to element, not to the parameter is input.
Very good. Well, so let me check with nice logic. Well, so anyone else? Anyone else? No one? Guys, see, when it comes to the training program or whatever, if you attend any demos, the only thing what we expect from you is the response. Because if you're not speaking, then it means either you're not understanding or else you're feeling shy. When you're learning something, you should not feel shy. Okay, if you're not understanding, then again it's a different thing. Okay, well, so yep, you're right. So when I trying to connect this element to the parameter dot name, it will give you the error. Try to understand the errors now. Try to understand the error. Okay, well, when I hover this cursor on this tooltip, it is showing you a different warning. Anyone can understand this? Anyone can understand this error?
No.
It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to understand after my explanation. Before that, would you able to understand what is it actually? No?
No.
No? Okay. Well, where there is a a node. Let's consider there is a node. Okay, so where there is a node, it is expecting the node input, the input one, that is expecting a integer. It is expecting a integer. Okay, now you supposed to connect a integer to it. You're supposed to connect an integer to it, and where there is another input which is expecting string. What do you mean by input? I mean, what do you mean by integer? What do you mean by string? You will be knowing during the training program. Okay, so these are actually the data types. The first key concept of the entire training program. And after this training, like it takes 3 days to understand the complete stuff. Once you're done with the 3 days training program, you will be start writing your own scripts by yourself. Trust me, this is going to be the complete base, and till during the entire training, we'll be playing with this data types frequently. Okay, that's why it takes 3 days to explain. It is almost like 6 hours concept. Not 6 hours, it's like 4 hours. Generally, for first day, I'll give you the quick introduction about the Dynamo and how it works. Okay, for the of course, I started the data types concept in the first day only. First day, second day, third day, which is around like 4 hours to 4.5 hours. It's a complete data types concept. Okay, well, once you're done with this concept, you will start playing yourself from the third day, after the third day, not from the third day. Okay, well, so they are expecting something. If you did not bring that, for example, if you have a kids, they are expecting like a Barbie doll. Okay, and you have bought a different doll. Okay, then they're not happy with that. Even the nodes also will not be happy if what they are expecting, and if you're not bring it out, that actual one. Okay, in this case, the input one, it is expecting an integer. Well, integer in the sense it's like a number. Okay, so it is expecting a number, and string in the sense it is a text. Okay, it's a it's a terminology for the programmers. Okay, well, I'll go with a string. If it is expecting an integer, I can connect an integer. Like, why do I confuse you? I'll just go with integer slider. I'll go with an integer slider. See, as the first one is expecting an integer, I can connect an integer. If this is an expecting a string, you must connect the string. Well, when I connect this to this, it's happy. It's happy now. Let me cut this for now. Before I connect this, like what it looks in a different color. Okay, whenever I connect this, it's changed its color. Now it's in a active state. Okay, well, now this output it's showing it's like a 1. Perfect. Well, when I'm changing the value here, of course it can change the value for whatever. If I change the value 12, 17, it is immediately applying here. It's reflecting here, correct? Well, we'll do one thing. If I disconnect this and I'll connect Bimera, it's a text actually. It's a text. When I connect this to this, it's giving a different color again. So what does this color mean? When I hold the cursor on this, ask it to convert non-convertible types. Is it? Now it is expecting an integer, but you connected something else. This is where mostly the new users struggle a lot. It is $1 million question for the persons who are new to the Dynamo. What to connect exactly? How do you connect? Okay, do you have any such a notes? Do you have any like shortcuts to understand? Do you have any things to understand what to be connected? Yes, of course we will have. But when it comes to the real picture, you can't find any those kind of like sources anywhere. Okay, well, so if it is expecting an integer, you must connect the integer to it. What if I connect a different one? It gives an error. Okay, well, let me go with the second one. The one that is expecting, it is a string. That is expecting a string. What if I connect the integer to it? Again, it's saying ask it to convert non-convertible types. What do you mean by that? It's a different thing. If it is expecting something and you should connect the same, otherwise it will give you the error. This is called data type errors. Okay, well, the first error that you should know ever of it. Okay, well, what is the problem here? What is the problem here? When I hover the cursor on this parameter.name, that is a node name. That's a node name. Expects, I mean, it is expecting argument types. It's a different terminology. You can ignore it. Argument, generally, argument in the sense inputs. So if they call it as an input, it's very easy to understand. And the argument is a programmer's terminology. Generally, inputs, we call them as arguments. Okay. So parameter.name expect argument types, that is Revit.element.parameter. So Revit.elements.parameter. Why we have a 3 different dots here? That's called the dot notation process. We have a 4 dots, we have a 5 dots, we have a 6 dots, we have a 10 dots as well. So how do you play with it exactly? If you understand the dot notation terminology, you can able to play with by placing 20 dots as well. But where is the trick? How do you understand? I mean, if you skip any dot instead of one place, and if you used it somewhere else, it will give you the error. So how do you exactly play with it? That's what the tricky part completely. Okay. Well, Revit.elements.parameter. Oh, it is expecting a parameter. Read the last one. That's it. Ignore everything what you are seeing. I mean, if it is showing like a 10 dots, ignore everything. Go with the last one. It is expecting the parameter, and we connected a family instance. In generally, where we called it as an Revit element, we can call it as a component, we can call it as an element, we can call it as a family instance, we can call it as a type instance. When it comes to the Dynamo, it has several names. So you have to remember all this. Once you're done with your proper training, then you will be able to understand very clearly, okay, this is expecting a parameter and we connected a family instance to it. And in between, if you say parameter.name, it is expecting argument, it's an input. So that is input, that's expecting as an input as a parameter, and we connected a family instance. We are connected, but was called with in the sense connected with, but instead of like so and so, instead of X, you connected Y. So, but was called with a family instance. That's the problem. Okay, well, what if we go and play with the second one? When I connect the element to this, and instead of a parameter name, if I connect a number, let's see. Let's go with 2019 when I started the BIM. So when I connect this to this, it's giving again an error. So what is an error? Now you have 2 different arguments here. So Revit.elements.element, and there is a comma. It's not a dot. So whenever there is a comma, it is a continuation to the next argument. So it is expecting 2 inputs here. So the first one that is expecting an element, yes, it's true, it's an element. And the second element that is expecting a string, the second input, it is expecting a string, but we connected a number. See what we connected, but was called with Revit.elements.family instance. Element and family instance crossed. So those 2 are actually matching. When it comes to the second input, it is expecting a string, but we connected an integer. That's it. If you are able to understand and you are very clear about it, like what it has to be connected, then this node would be exactly work. Let's check if I connected a string to it. I say BIM error. When I connect this to this, it's returning null. It's returning anything, it's null, because we don't have any parameter assigned to this element. If I call a panel name, let's say if I select this, and if I say the mark value, let's say mark value. If I ask to print the mark value, it prints 29, because the value which is stored in the mark, it is 29 for this one. It's a 29. So I got the 29. You clear? So this is how actually the node works. If you fail in retrieving this information, then it's somewhat like tough to understand. Okay, so the main concepts, this is not not even 1% of like the concepts what you're supposed to learn, where we have like 100% key concepts, and in detail it is not even 1% of this data types. So where we have an anatomy of a node, where we have a node states, where we have execution types, node behaviors, dot notation, and the list management, all these are like a key concepts to learn to become master. Okay, so my intention is I'm not going to teach you the examples what you found on YouTube, what you found on like any Google or any external sources. I hate it. Why you should pay some X amount to explain the YouTube videos? No, our intention is very clear to deliver the content which makes you perfect writing your own scripts. That's it, nothing about it. Okay, well, of course we do give you the live examples like how it works. We'll show you some sort of a project examples as well during this entire training program. Of course we'll use a lot of things. I mean, if there is any problem with a node, there is a problem with a script, you would be able to troubleshoot yourself. That's up to that extent I'll take you up to that extent. Okay, well, so this is how actually the Dynamo, I mean, now can you tell me, is the Dynamo is it tough to understand? Is it tough to understand?
No. Easy.
So far what you have seen is that
We don't call it easy. I mean, when we understand, it's gonna be okay.
noise echo. Yep, tell me. You're saying something, no problem.
We can't say it is tough or it is easy, because all we need to understand the scripting systems.
So it's not easy, it's not tough. Yes, you're right. See, when it comes to the picture, it looks like easy, but when you sit in front of the tool, it looks like completely new. Where do you exactly start? Correct? But without knowing anything and sitting in front of a tool, if you are very confident on if you're very confident on a tool, then at least you can perform like a 50% task that what you can do without any R&D after my training. That's for sure. Okay, so why I'm saying this visual programming concepts, when it comes to the actual picture, I don't say that Dynamo can deliver you all the things that what you are expecting. There are up to some extent. What do you mean by that extent? Let me show you. See, actually, we have 3 different modules here. So if you're new to the programming, then I'm the one who needs you. So the Dynamo is the first base to learn with. You have to start with, and you are no need to write any code over there. It's a no code programming. Okay, once you're done with it, and you can't find any node. For example, you're expecting to perform the wall openings with the MEP elements. Wherever there is an MEP element which is clashing with the architectural element, you would like to place one element of you would like to see an opening over there. Then what to do exactly? Then you could not found the actual node which can make the opening. Then you have to sit and write the code to create that opening. If you could not found, then the Iron Python will help you. It's not a general Python. It's a different Python. We generally call it as an application Python. Okay, well, you have to apply that, and it is very easy, frankly. Even 6th class students as well, I mean 6th class candidate also learn this Python very easily. If you watch any like LinkedIn or any other platforms, like there are a lot of kids, they are developing some sort of AR things, and we are with the help of integrating this Python with the different applications. So Python is very easy. If you sit with you, if you come and sit with you, learn with your kids, even your kid learns more faster than you, because that easier it is, seriously, in fact. Okay, well, but when it comes to the Revit API, it's not that easy like a Python. It has again some sort of, even Iron Python has some sort of limitations. You can't break through it like a barriers. So if you want to if you want to cross the barrier, you have to learn a Revit API, and you can play into different extent, like creating some sort of an add-ins. So this is how the entire training program would be. But in the first module, you are going to play with this Dynamo, and in between these two, we have a different programming language called DesignScripting. So DesignScripting is the base for this Iron Python. So generally, you're not supposed to learn these two at the same time. That is the reason what we did. We initially it was there in this module. Later on, we changed this to the first module. So along with the Dynamo, you will be learning a DesignScripting, which is around like a 3 days, 3 to 4 days. Around it's like 6 to 8 hours of training program we added into this Dynamo. Into the first module. Okay. So what do you mean by this DesignScripting? How it looks like? The last one, if you see in the key concept, it's the last one, DesignScripting. If you're aware of this complete, let me show you generally how it looks like. Okay. So if I want to bring the parameters, let's say I want to get the value of the same mark value. So how to do that? So whatever it is, element, ELM, it's just like a variable, in the sense it's just name. You can use any of your name. Let's say we'll take someone's name here. Let's take Raj. Okay, and dot parameters. So Raj dot parameters. Okay, it is expecting an input now. So that element, I can connect this to this. Now I can see the parameters here. Where Raj dot parameter, is there any name over there in this? As a default API? No, it could be anything. We have one more guy here, Rafi. So Rafi dot parameters. So when I connect this element to this Rafi, well, still I'm getting the parameters here. Okay, I want to get only the parameter name itself. So where it is showing the values as well, but now I can see the names. Where I want to see the values only. Oh, I can see the values. Okay, so where I'm using a number of dots here. Okay, well, if parameters dot name, which is equal to mark, okay, I don't want to see any other parameters except the mark. Once you retrieve the mark parameter, then bring that value out of it. That's it. This is what I would like to write. So Rafi dot parameters dot name, which is equal to, double equal to, if that is a mark. Why did I use a double quotations here? Generally the string case. In a string case, that's a different case. Okay, well, let's see now. It's returning true or false values. This is not a mark parameter, this is not a mark parameter, not a mark parameter. So when I scroll down, I can see the 48th element is a mark parameter. The 48th element, the 48th parameter is a mark parameter. Let me cross check again whether I'm right or not. 48. Yes, the 48 value is a mark. Well, let me try that again. So what I can do with the true or false values? Now I have to create a separate list. Wherever, if there is any true value, I want to print only the true values. I don't want to see any false values. Okay, well, before we do that, like, we have one more step to do. Eliminate all the false values. Separate all the false values and separate all the true values. So what I do, I have a different syntax, like questioning. I'm just asking it. So if there is any like mark parameter, if there is any true value, then print Rafi dot parameters dot value. That's it. Okay. If not, print null. Now I can see all this turns to the null state. All this turns to the null state, and when it comes to the 40th index, we know that's a mark parameter, and it will return the value as I said, print Rafi dot parameters dot value. That's it. Okay. Well, if I don't want to see the null values, I want to see only the parameter, then we have a process called dscore dot, it's a list part. So list dot clean. When I open this, it is expecting a null, comma, false, and I close it. That's it. Now it will return the value, it's a 29. So why did I use this dsco.list.clean.rafi.parameters.name number of dots, call dot notation process. So to understand this up to this extent, you have to learn this design scripting as well. So we are going to play with, I mean, instead of like, if I want to write the same thing using the nodes, at least I would have to place 5 to 10 different nodes. So, but it's very easy to write it's very easy to filter with the help of design scripting, and it is more friendly. Even if you go with a 2 years experienced guy and ask him to write something in the design scripting, he definitely fails. He'll definitely fail, because I've been sent a lot of employees, like not lot, around 10 to 15 employees to the big companies like L&T, WME. There are different kind of companies. Okay, well, so I'm interviewing them from their end. We will do it from their behalf, like we do it. So when I'm hiring them, like I used to ask only whether they are good in the design scripting or not. If they're not good in the design scripting, even they are not good in the Python as well, because this is the base for the Python programming. Okay, well, when it comes to the syntax, of course there is a difference, but you no need to check the complete thing whether he is capable or not. The first case, it's more than enough whether we can simply judge the person by using this, whether he is capable to do some sort of an actions or not. Okay, well, this is what the design scripting training. Well, when it comes to the architecture and structure, we do have a different programming, we have a different thing, like how you can play with. Okay, for example, so this is a design scripting completely. So this is what design scripting. Not only the design scripting, like you can create your own definitions as well, like you can create your own standards, whatever it is. Design scripting, sorry. Okay, well, so these are the things. And when it comes to the geometry structure, like you will be playing with a different elements again, because do you have any architects or structural guys here? Do you have any architectural guys?
Yes. Structural side.
Well, who else?
Yes, me also.
Yeah, I'm from structure.
Okay, well, how do you play with there is a misconception.
Yes, me also.
Okay, there is a misconception actually where the Dynamo only helps the architects, and architects say, no, I can't see any, I didn't see any like any architectural things that they can develop it, okay, with the help of a Dynamo. They're blaming each other, like Dynamo is not for architects, man, it's for MEP guys. And MEP say like Dynamo is not for MEP, it's for architect. So in between, they're calling, no one is understand what does the Dynamo do and the capabilities of it. Okay, well, when it comes to the Dynamo Geometry, okay, so like for example, if I want to place a point, let's try to understand. Even for MEP, if they learn this thing, it would be much better. Okay, if they learn this geometry, it really helps you in some cases where we have a, let me delete this element.geometry. Okay, now I have a point here. Oh, I have a, let me delete everything. Element.get location. Now I can see the, now I can see the point over here. Okay, well, otherwise I have to struggle a lot. Well, I have a point here. Where did I place the point node? Hey, where did I place the point node? Somewhere here. Yeah. So I have a point here. So when I select the point, I can move around this point wherever I want. Let's say whenever I change it, it has added like X direction and the Y and the Z direction as well. Okay. Well, I need one more point. So I need one more point. It's like a point dot by coordinates. When I place it, I'd like to change this point with this extent and with this with the Z. That's it. Control B. Now I need one more point. Let me disconnect this. Now I have a point. Whenever I place a point, why it is showing at this point? Because the X value default value which is stored at 0, Y value default value is stored as 0, and Z value default value is stored as 0. So it will be placed automatically at 0, 0, 0. Okay. When it comes to the picture, let me move this with a different one. Now I have a 3 different points where I have a 3 different points now. I want to combine these 3 different points and to make a curve. So I would like to combine these 3. So I use list.create. So I can create a list. So if it is an individual item, we won't call it as a list. Let me show you that here. It's showing it's like a point. But if you have a number of points, let me show you one more. Like I have a 1 number. It is not showing it's like a list. But if I have a number of, 1.2, I have a 2 different numbers here. Now it is showing it's like a 1 and 2 inside a list. So if I want to club together, it has to be in a list. So I can create, I have a 3 items now. I have a first item, second item, and third item. So to combine all these 3, and I need 3 inputs to be as a input. Now I can see 3 different points. Now it is under list. All these 3 points were there. Now what I can do with these points now? Can I convert this into the curve? Yes, of course. Nubs curve. Generally, if it has any control points, if it's a flexible curve, we call it a nubs curve. Okay, nubs curve. I want to see a nubs curve by, I have a points and I want to get the nubs curve. Okay, so by points. Okay, well, when I connect the points to this, see, I have a curve here. So I have a curve here. Now I can see the curve. Okay, perfect. I have a curve here. Well, I'd like to create one more curve with the difference. Let me do this. Like for example, if I want to create, I would like to convert this into a structural pipe or something. Well, what do we do is surface dot by sweep, or like solid. We'll just go with solid dot by sweep. Solid dot by sweep. Now it is expecting a profile and it's a path. Now we know this is a path. For example, when you're, how do you play with the families? Generally, if I want to create a sweep, what do you need? You need an axis. You need a profile and you need a path. Correct? Correct? If you want to create a sweep. So where I have a path here. I have a path here. What about the profile now? So everything is an interlinked here. Everything is an interlinked. So I know a path and it could be a line or curve. See, that is expecting a curve. When I hover the cursor on it, it is expecting a curve and we are getting a curve. That's it. Well, now it is when it expecting a profile. Okay, what do we need? It's circle by center point radius by plane radius, whatever it is. So, well, if I see this circle dot by plane radius, let me go with any circle by center point radius. I don't want to make it more complicated for you to understand. So center point, it has a center point, but this is not the point where I would like to start. The circle has to be here from this point. So where is that point? So is this the first point? Yes. So this is going to be the center point. So when let me zoom in more. Okay. Well, I'm going to connect this as a center point. When I connect this to this, see, that has moved to this as a center point. Okay, perfect. Now, what I can do with this now? And what about the radius? Radius, when I hover the cursor, it is saying double. Double is a different data type. Okay, we can consider it's a number for now. So I'll take a number, and I would like to go with, what is the default value? It's 1. So I want to make it 2 then. When I change it, now it's like a 2 radius. When I connect this circle to this profile, see now, when I switch back to this, now I can see there is a different solid now. I have a solid. Okay, if I want to extend, very easy. Like if I want to move, like, if I want to move in Z direction, this point where when I click on this, where we have a point here, of course you can't see because the solid which is like overlapping over there. So if I change the Z direction, oh, perfect. So you can see the differential. Now, this is fine. I can change the X direction, whereas when I click on this point, where we have a one more point here. So when I change this value, see where I can see this, where I can see this X value, which is in this shape. What's in this shape? No, these two are fine. But what about this one? If you want to adjust it, you can adjust with Z value, make it 0, and you can expand this somehow. Okay, this is fine. It looks like some sort of a column structures. So I can reduce the height of it. If I want to adjust the height, again the Z value. So when I compress it, now it has reduced. Let me show you again. So it's reducing the height of it. Well, perfect. Now what I do, I have a solid by sweep now, and I want to create a one more which is almost on the other hand side. Let's consider it as like a bridge. Okay, well, geometry, I don't need to create one more stuff again. I can do one thing. I can simply copy Control L. So this is a script where it's automatically customized by itself, like to see our nodes very clear. It will auto adjust by itself. Okay, now it looks like very clear, and I can change this Control C and Control V, and I can play with one more. So it will increase the space, the workspace actually. So for example, each node will consume like 1 second to execute it, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. So 13 seconds to execute this, and 13 more seconds to execute this. Let's consider on our average, like if it takes 20 seconds, it will kill our time. So to avoid this, where we have some sort of a nodes, that's called writing a program in an algorithmic manner. So if I use translate, a geometry to translate X translation, Y translation. So I have a geometry here. It could be anything like solid. And now I want to move that somewhere around 1000. Let's make it 50 for now, because these are very easy to see. X translation. See, it's somewhere else. It's somewhere next to it. Well, I would like to reduce the radius now. Let's make it 0.5. Let's make it 0.5. Okay. And I don't want this distance. Let's make it 5. The X translation. Or else, if I can make it a more, like what I do, I would like to start it from 5 double dot up to 100 with a step of 5 again. Now we can see a number of structures like this. Control B now. So I can see a different. You can make it in a couple of seconds. See, there it's in a new design now. Press Control B again. Now this entire design has to be copied this entire design has to be copied with a, on the other hand side. Let's say geometry.translate. Well, so remove this. This is going to be the geometry, and the number is going to be 15 something. Let's make it 50 or something. When I connect this to the Y, it will create somewhere right opposite to the other hand side. See this? See this now. Do you see this? So this is how actually it works. Now, what do you need exactly? I want to get these points. I want to get this start point and end point of this curve, and I would like to connect a different kind of a structure or a base or any structural component. So how do you do that? Again, how do you extract that points where we have a solids, where we have a solid, and how do you extract the points? That's a tricky part. So again, how do you extract these points from this solid again? Okay, well, that is an different thing again here when it comes to the actual picture. Okay, well, Dynamo, when it comes to the architecture and structure, it is very easy to understand even if you understand the logic and which node has to be executed at that particular time. Okay, for example, instead of like a geometry.translate, you can use some other node, but if it fails, then you should play with the alternative node. Okay, so this is how the training program would be, guys. You clear? So this is the Dynamo Geometry and how you play with the geometry. For example, if you can create the same curve, let me turn it off everything here. I don't want to see this, hide all geometry preview. I don't want to see this, and I want to see the curve. I can see the curve here. Now, if I want to convert this curve into a surface, like what to do? Surface dot by loft. So it is expecting a cross section now. Okay, when I connect this to this, what will happen? The cross sections, it is expecting two different cross sections from one to the another end. Okay, and where we have a surface dot by loft and where we have a surface dot by patch. For example, we'll just go with the same curve with the geometry.translate, Control C and Control V. Preview. Okay, well, I'll be connecting this to the geometry here, and I would like to see the Y translation. This somehow like this. Now I can see this in a different structure again. Now I can see this in a different structure. Okay, well, if I want to convert this all into a different surface, then what I do, surface dot by loft. So when I connect this to this cross sections, now it has converted into the crosshair where we missed something here. This null curve dot by points, and this should be, I don't want to use this anymore. Let me disconnect this. Let me bring this all the stuff here. Okay, so surface dot by loft. Now I want to use this, the first line as well. Why the first curve as well? Why did it miss? Because it is expecting a one more list dot create again. So the list has to be created, including where when we connected this geometry, it has only the 20 curves, but we have a 20 plus. Where did we take it as a from the default? I mean the first one, this one, it has to be also added. So this curve has to be this, and this also had these curves also to be added, and then this 21 should be connected this to the cross sections. Is it giving a different error here? Oh yes, it's giving like I need to be use flatten. It has to be flattened. So when I connect this to this, now it will give the complete structure now. Okay, so this is how it works. So this is a different structure now. Okay, what do you do with this? What do you do with this? I mean, if I want to convert this into a real element, and where I would like to play with some sort of a panels, then what do? You have to create a different structure. Like I'll just go to the new, and I'll just open a new family, and if it is like English, metric, generic model, adaptive, and you will have to create a different adaptive family. For example, if it is you want to create a panels, then what to do? Like let's make it reference. So I placed 4 points here, third point and fourth point. Now select all these 4 points, and you have to make it adaptive, and you will be creating some sort of a forms again here, and you will be using a reference line or reference curve to create a different structure. So when I connect this to this, and let's tap, connect this to this, and press tab, connect this to this, and this to this, and this to this, and now you have to convert this entire into a different form. Once you're done with that, you will be incorporating that component, the adaptive component, on this panel. To create that, you need a 4 points again. How do you convert this surface into the 4 points, into the points? That's a again, it's a $1 million question for you. Okay, either you can convert into the 4 points or 5 points, or like you can create any Voronoi things, I mean stuff, or whatever you can. So when it comes to the Dynamo Geometry also, it is very easy to play with a Dynamo, and you can create a lot of structures like this. Let me show you. Not this one. Oh, it's here, where you can play with. So where total we have a 400, not completely, we have a 200 slides for like a Dynamo, the first module. And when it comes to the different module for architecture and structure, you have to go with a 15 days more training again. Okay, so this is how it's like a power building. Okay, it's a headquarters, and why it's here. And this is how actually you can create with the help of a Dynamo. You can customize it with the help of these nodes, and it looks like there are number of nodes, but when it comes to the real picture, you don't know like how many nodes you are going to place. You're placing, it's going on flow. Okay, well, these kind of structures that you can create with the help of a Dynamo again. Okay, so the one which we have seen now, it's like a thing, everything which is developed in the Dynamo itself, like these kind of structures, like spiral, like we call it as Helix Pedals. So this is a different kind of a thing again. So these kind of an architecture building, like you can create with the help of this Dynamo very easily, very easily. Clear? So even this concept, actually for MEP, you guys don't need this kind of a geometrical concepts, but when it comes to the actual picture, of course you need it. Okay, because like it's better if you learn it. See, learning is a never-ending journey actually, till like 60 or till 70, till up to whatever we is. So if you want to earn, you have to learn. Okay, so this is what I can see, and I hope I brought some sort of an interest, and bring some confidence on like how to play with the Dynamo by this demo. Are you happy with this demo? With today's demo?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So Thanks for your feedback. Well, I hope if you are interested for this training program, you can. There's a batch going to start in next 1 week, or like a 10 days. So you can text me on WhatsApp so that I can share you the complete details of the training program and everything. So now it's we have 12 more minutes. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or else we can leave.
I would like to ask one question. I think most of the people they will be happy to hear this question. So, what are the future aspects in terms of career when we learn Dynamo in India or abroad?
Very good. Such a nice question. Actually, the companies have already started looking for this kind of an IDD guys, Devashish. Okay, if you want to stand as a competitor, okay, for example, there was an interview and you have attended with 5 years of experience. And there is a guy who is having like a 2.5 years experience and he's good in the computational design. Do you know who will be selected in it? The 2.5 years guy. Because
Okay.
he is having more, and the BIM automation is going to be the boom in next couple of years. It's supposed to be already ruled, but due to this pandemic situation, like most of the, like, of course, we are enjoying a lot of resources because of due to this pandemic, because everyone is working at home and a lot of them are like lost their jobs and they completely sit on developing different kind of scripts. This is what like a proven survey from the Autodesk. The most of the programmers were lost their jobs and they took some sort of a responsibility to develop these kind of Dynamo scripts. Otherwise, we could still in 2.4 or 2.3 or 2.4 version, but we are at 2.12. So that's because of this COVID pandemic. But most of the companies like started looking for the cost cutting. Generally, if I'm a director of a company, so generally when it comes to the picture, I do always prefer the cost cutting. If a person can deliver a deliverable in 10 minutes instead of like a 4 hours, I'll definitely go with that. I'll definitely go with them, whatever it is. If you would like to go with a 50,000 salary or 1 lakh salary, 1.5 salary, if I'm paying a 5 years experienced coordinator as a like a 80,000, and why don't I go with a 2.5 years experience and those who can do some sort of miracles and with a less fee, with a less pay. Of course, he doesn't have a proper experience, but still he's a good in computational design and it can automate not only that project, in future projects as well. So this is what the companies have started. Even we recently, recently sent to the Bangalore WME. There is a guy who's trying by us. His name is Chandu. He's a computational designer. He learned and he played very well and he joined. And there is one more guy for L&T and he has joined us. And of course, he did good. See, if you 10 people will learn, I'm not sure like you will 10 will get a chance to join an organization. That depends upon like how did you practice it. Okay, well, for every tool, of course, you have to give your best. Am I right or not? I don't say I don't make any false promises. See, even when I was creating my own opportunities, I struggled a lot to find a proper role which is related to the automation. Then, of course, I'm into the very high paid salary job, which is on a Jacobs. But still, at the same time, I got offered by ACOM as a BIM automation expert. Then I joined over there with the less salary, for the very less salary, and not exactly the same, which is almost around like a 10,000 difference. But still, I choose that because there is a boom. There's a boom, and in next 1-2 years, the Dynamo and this API, which is going to be ruled completely for sure. So you must have to get in now because like 4 years or 5 years back, no one knows Revit, but now everyone knows Revit. Even the engineering student also knows the Revit. After 2 to 3 years, everyone knows Dynamo, and it's very hard to get a job as a Dynamo developer. It's like a BIM developer role. Do you understand? That is why for every think there is a expiry date even for our career as well. If once it is crossed, like after 1 year, it's already expired, because most of the people knows it. And so instead of like going with hire a new guy, why don't you use me? I know the Dynamo, I can do it, just increase my salary. That's it. This is how. Even the opportunities which I like where I worked, it was created by myself only. So I used to expose myself in my organization, and been like benefited as well. This is what generally. Well, that was a really nice question, Devashish. So any other details you want, and do you have any other questions?
Yes, yes. There is a conception these days. I can see, and I'm feeling this thing.
Every
For the senior guy like me, for the senior guy like me, like the experienced guy, these days market, the companies are not preferring the senior guys because they're expensive. Everybody knows this. This is a fact.
Yes.
They whenever an interviewer he says, why should I pay you this much of amount? We can get this much of work from a lesser experienced guy, and we can manipulate this guy. So what if I learn this Dynamo and I'll practice? Because let me tell you one more thing. I forgot to tell you while I was briefing myself. In there is a programming language called GDL, which is in Graphisoft ArchiCAD. I think you must be aware of.
Aware. We have it. Yeah.
Okay. So the GDL scripting, I'm the very few guy in Delhi. Basically, I'm from Delhi, Delhi NCR. So I'm the very few guy who is very good in GDL, and I have taught so many students GDL, but nobody used my skills as a GDL expert. So in Delhi NCR, people, they don't prefer a skill guy like, oh, this guy, he is good for our company, but we don't want to pay him.
Can we?
So is it going to benefit me?
Yes. Can we get
after
this in?
Learning?
Yeah, I have a straight away answer for this. Check the users first of all. I mean, for example, if you are going to release a product, for example, if you start any ice cream business in the winter season, will it becomes to be any sales? No, right? No, right? Am I right or not?
It depends. It depends. In Delhi, people prefer ice cream in cold winter days.
Okay, well,
but you're right. You're right.
You have to check with the users as well. When it compared to the graphics of users and Revit users, there's a big difference. So mostly, if you check, there is almost like 20:80%. So wherever there are number of users, you have to go with it. If there is no such a market, and if very few companies are using that, and then why should, I mean, there is no use of learning it seriously. But don't say, I never say as a trainer there will be like a tool without any benefit. If you learn something, it would be benefited at some point of time for sure. If you feel somewhat it is looks impressive, you have to go with it. How much it will charge? Something, some X amount from your end, but it brings a real, I mean, some sort of an admirable thing in your organization, because that guy knows everything. He can play with a Graphisoft, he can play with a GDL, he can play with a Bentley products, he can play with. This is when you are adding a different tool on your CV with a right experience, then no companies would like to leave you. For example, if there is a company who is working on Graphisoft and like ArchiCAD and this Revit, if there is no such a jobs on Revit, then they will be using you on ArchiCAD, but they won't fire you. You understand? So where you learn a tool which helps you at some point of a time, that's for sure. You understand? So learning will never. It's not a waste, Devashish. It will help you at some point of time. I really studied because I learned Kobe, because I'm not a part of it. But when I got an opportunity, I for a company, so it's a like a trial period. I mean, it's like a, what do you say? It's a 3 months contract. So I learned this Kobe, and I paid something around like 25,000 some very long back when it is very new actually. That time I was benefited around, it's like 1.5 lakh per month. It's a Qatar company. So I worked for that, and I've been benefited for 4.5 lakh only by paying like 25,000. That's it.
Okay.
Yep, this is how actually it works. You'll never come to know when it helps you. You understand? So
Right.
learning is never rest. I can teach you the Navis books. I can teach you all the BIM tools mostly, not only the programming. Okay. So why should I, if I'm getting some money from this training, again I'll try to spend it somewhere else. I'll learn something new. This is what
Right.
I mean, until unless like I'm 60 cross 60 like 70 keep learning. Okay.
Right.
Well,
Right.
still learn if you want to learn. Okay. Well, any other questions? I hope everyone is living. So we have 1 more minute. So if you're interested, do text me on WhatsApp so that I can share the complete details and you can join our next training program.
I would like to get some details. I would
Sure,
like to
sure.
get details. Kindly send me. Kindly send me.
I'll send you. There.
And I'll get back to you very soon.
Text me on WhatsApp. That's it. I'll remind.
Oh,
Well,
fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye. See you guys.
Thank
You
you.
can have any questions? My information.
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah.
Bye.